Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And I don't always ch-ch-ch, but when I do, I ha-ha-ha.
Yeah, you do.
I had to show off the shirt because today we are doing Friday the 13th, the original, the OG Friday the 13th.
And I'd like to point out that your shirt seems to encapsulate that Jason is in the original, and he's not. I want to make that perfectly clear that this first movie has nothing to do with Jason. That's my impersonation of the same asshole that go, his name was Frankenstein's monster, not Frankenstein.
Duly noted. So we can move on from there.
I just dropped a pet peeve right on your lap 15 seconds into this shit.
Yeah, you did. And I was actually, before you got into that, I was going to say, like, I know the Jason hockey mask is on the front of the shirt, and this is the original, and he's not the killer in the original, yada, yada. So thank you for addressing that.
Right, yes, and that's how far we've gone as a culture with the PC movement, is you now have to apologize for wearing a Jason shirt when you're not reviewing a Jason movie.
Very true. Very true. But you know what? They didn't have a t-shirt with the mom's face on it, so suck a D.
They didn't have Betsy Palmer's dead tooth on there?
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We'll get into that. And before we do, who's our advertiser this week?
Advertiser? Listen, now we're talking, dude. Everybody's pulling out for more of us. Our advertiser this week. Kiss the Reviews is brought to you by the Pocket Physician's Desk Reference, Alex Cross Edition. We know. Hospitals these days don't hold up to modern standards. Sick of doctors treating you like an actual patient instead of a lab rat? Standard medical practices are something you simply do not have time for. Are you looking for that one experimental and dangerous drug to pull people from medically induced coma? Today is your lucky day. Show those stupid, caring, and thoughtful doctors who's the boss with your Pocket Physician's Desk Reference, Alex Cross Edition. Famed forensic psychologist Dr. Alex Cross has put together all of the experimental uses for drugs in one easy-to-read manual. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation with a doctor about a complete stranger's medical diagnosis, impress everyone when you whip out your Pocket PDR, Alex Cross Edition. Warning, the Pocket Physician's Desk Reference, Alex Cross Edition, is not to be used by actual medical practitioners. Never use your Pocket PDR, Alex Cross Edition, on any of your family members or people you actually care about. The Pocket PDR is only to be utilized on complete strangers that you need something from. The Pocket Physician's Desk Reference, Alex Cross Edition, is available at all Cuban and Venezuelan pharmacies today.
Let's move into Friday the 13th. What is the IMDb description of Friday the 13th?
Friday the 13th, released in 1980. A group of camp counselors are stalked and murdered by an unknown assailant while trying to reopen a summer camp, which years before was the site of a child's drowning.
That's fair. That's fair. And spoiler alert, it's Jason Voorhees' mom, right up front.
Adios mio!
Did you just get back from Venezuela? Did you get your
did.
PDR?
That's how we had to negotiate this shit. I had to go to Cuba.
But that's all you knew how to say.
Exactly.
I'm going to start with a few notes, because I did take some notes on this. The very first thing that I noticed is the girl hitchhiking to get to Camp Crystal Lake. She's hiking. She's apparently the chef. And
yes. And dog whisperer.
Yes. She sees the dog and lets out the funniest line to me in the movie, which is, "Hey, girl. Excuse me. Hey, boy. Does the dog have a boner?" That's all I got to know. Because she immediately sees that it's a boy. And unless you're inspecting, like, you can't tell when a dog's sitting if it's a boy or a girl.
Yeah, no, privacy and decency laws and social norms were very different in 1980.
So that was...
Because she just immediately checks out the plumbing.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed. And so I watched this, full disclosure, I watched this with my wife. And she delivers that line, and we both just looked at each other like, okay, sure, let's move on. You have Ralph, who is the Camp Crystal Lake has a death curse guy.
And this is the start, if I can, of one of many cliches or tropes that have been copied or mocked, I mean, everywhere by horror movies.
Yes. I don't consider any of these to be the cliches or the horror movie tropes, because I think Friday the 13th was the originator of all of these.
It was, 100%.
So
this is a movie where if you watch it now, not understanding horror movie history, not like we're some dickheads. They're like, wow, highbrow horror movies, see? But if you know anything about horror movie history, or you don't, and you watch this movie, you will think it's just a campy, cliched, almost a mockumentary of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And then if you realize, though, that this was the first to do all of this, the spooky old man, the on and on and on. I'm not going to go into it throughout the whole movie, but just amazing what they were able to accomplish with that.
Absolutely. Well, and the other notes that I had, you had creepy oil truck guy drops everything at like the diner to take this like hot young girl to Camp Crystal Lake. But he doesn't even take her there, and he's in his oil rig. He just drops her off. Like everybody that hitches a ride to Camp Crystal Lake gets dropped off at the crossroads, which is another like 5-mile walk.
Crossroads. Shout out to Busy Bone.
And then you get your first shot of Kevin Bacon. The one thing that didn't fit this movie was the banjo music while they're driving the truck to Camp Crystal Lake. It was just a weird choice.
Yeah, it seemed like a Benny Hill thing, right? Like,
so
weird.
After they get to Camp Crystal Lake, I mean, they immediately start helping because they're, the camp counselors there. Steve Christie owns Camp Crystal Lake, and the Christie family has owned Camp Crystal Lake forever. And
he is back. He is back now.
Let me tell you something about Steve Christie. Steve Christie is everything that a 1980s man is supposed to be. Cut off jean shorts, no other clothes on besides that, fixing a gutter, handkerchief around the neck, body hair, glasses, and his little like blonde fro-y locks. Like this, as soon as they introduce him, I was like, if you just take a snapshot of that, that's the 80s right there.
Yes. Yep. Just have like Randy Macho Man Savage spraying high karate on him. And that is the 80s.
When they introduced him, I loved that.
And he doesn't even do the gutter. He makes Annie the chick who's trying to run away from him. He just gets half a tree stump out of the ground and is like, hey, you guys, come here and help me.
The best part about it, he has the kids who literally just get there, like, help me take this tree stump out. And then he has Annie fix the gutter. And then he's like, hey, guys, you need to get all this stuff taken care of because it looks like it's going to rain. I'll be back after lunch. He doesn't get back. Like there's a shot of him in a diner eating.
Yeah.
And it's dark outside.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's like, well, I gotta get back. Those kids are probably tearing their hair out.
That was the longest lunch break I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, right? Those are like the lunch breaks I used to take when I was like 20 and would start a job. And the first day I'd go to lunch and just not come back.
Oh, those were the best. You also get to see, because when they get there, I think it's like that afternoon, they're done with work for the day. Or it might even be like the next morning. I think this all takes place in 24 hours, but the timeline is really like all over the place.
It starts off very early in the morning.
Yeah.
On Friday the 13th when Annie's walking in. Because I had the same question when I was watching. I'm like, well, this goes over the course of a couple days, doesn't it? And it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's just an extremely long night.
Yeah.
Like they're in Iceland.
Apparently they get there at 6 a.m, and this movie doesn't end until 2 a.m. So,
Right, exactly.
but there's a couple of things with Kevin Bacon. We know Kevin Bacon's gone on to be a big actor, and he plays Jack. And I did notice I pulled up the cast and crew on IMDb. Nobody has a last name in this movie. It's Alice, Marcy, Annie.
Except for Voorhees.
Yeah, Mrs. Voorhees. And she doesn't even have a first name.
No. She's just Mrs. Voorhees.
So
They call her DT Voorhees for the dead tooth.
So Kevin Bacon, two things about him. A, he loves his Speedo in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And you know that because there's a close-up shot of his crotch. My wife was like, well, there's Kevin Bacon's dick.
Well, have you ever seen Wild Things? Let me tell you something, kids. If I were Kevin Bacon, I'd wear a Speedo 24/7, 365.
And
Just
then,
like, yep, look at what I'm packing.
and then the second, the B part of this is the dude pretends to drown. They run down this huge dock. He can't dive into the water.
He belly flops.
Belly flops like a son of a bitch in this thing.
Yeah.
He hits the water, and again, me and my wife looked at each other and just busted out laughing. Like, well, apparently he's never had like swim lessons or anything. It was
teenage Elizabeth Warren is the only one that knows how to swim or competently save someone's life.
But
and that's not a political statement. Just watch the movie. She looks like a teenage Elizabeth Warren.
She absolutely does. The other question I had is the cop. The cop to me that shows up for no reason other than he's looking for Ralph, which Ralph's bike is right there. But he doesn't see that or Ralph because he's hiding in the pantry somewhere in one of the cabins. First, I have two questions about the cop. First time riding a motorcycle?
Oh, 100%. The swerviness of it all? Yeah.
He pulls up and parks just fine. And then when he leaves, and everybody's like fucking with this cop, like, I know people nowadays are like, oh, people don't respect police. Well, apparently you need to go back to 1980 because nobody respected anything. They were like grabbing his little CB and trying.
Oh, yeah. They were totally fucking with him.
And then he pulls.
And he kind of deserved it. What are you smoking? That grass? That Chiba?
Yeah, what are you smoking? That Mary Jane? The sticky icky? Devil's cabbage? Kush? Pot? Marijuana? You know what I'm talking about. Like, he went through his urban dictionary of marijuana terms to describe what he thought they were doing.
And it's because he wanted a hit.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to stop him. He knew way too many names for that shit.
You got a down bag, son?
Yep.
So he takes off.
I got 5 on it. That's what he probably started singing. They had to cut that part, though, for time.
Yeah, absolutely. That hit the cutting room floor.
Exactly.
But after he leaves, this is when all of the real murders start happening because the chef never makes it there. There's inexplicable scenes to me. The strip monopoly during that scene,
in which nobody is even remotely naked.
No,
it's bathing suit attire.
They're getting to it. And then the door blows open, and they all protect the pieces on the Monopoly board. And then they get the door closed, and the one chick, like the dude's like, all right, I got 2 chicks. We're playing strip Monopoly. This is going to be a fun night.
Yeah.
And then the door blows open, and the one chick goes, oh, I left my windows open in the cabin. Bitch, everything's wet. Sorry.
Yeah.
At this point, because it's literally raining like I've never seen it before. And she just gets her stuff and leaves. And actually, she didn't even get her stuff. She's like in her bra and panties.
Puts on a rain slicker.
Yeah, gets a slicker on it, takes off.
Looking like Georgie in it.
And then, like I don't even get that. She just bounces. Overall, the some of the murder scenes were really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were kind of campy.
Yes.
The whole movie was kind of campy. I looked at it. and I'll talk about this in another episode that we do. Uh, but this almost seemed like a very Tucker and Dale versus Evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of the stuff is pulled from this.
But there are 2 or 3 lines in this movie where if you twist the words just a little bit, it's a comedy.
Well,
you're writing jokes.
And that's the thing. I laughed through a lot of this, which, again, first time I saw it, I didn't laugh at all because I was scared shitless. Mm-hmm. But there was just a lot of things that I was laughing at and questioning.
Yeah. I like the movie for what it is. I can appreciate the nostalgia. I think it was a incredible concept. The mother of the drowned children just basically loses her fucking marbles and starts whacking everybody. Totally cool. Great idea for a movie. I was astounded when Annie got killed first. Spoiler alert. But they set the movie up like Annie's going to be the protagonist.
Yeah.
And she gets dusted immediately.
ASAP.
Her character arc is, I'm hitchhiking and talking to dogs. Truck driver grabs my ass. I get picked up by another person, chased through the woods and killed. That's her entire story. And it happens all in about 10 minutes. You literally never see Annie again. I loved that part of it because they really did set it up in that traditional sense. Like, oh, I'm Annie. I'm virtuous and I talk to puppies because I'm friendly. And I want to cook for kids. Yeah, and then she just got whacked. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with the movie overall is Mrs. Voorhees.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her. Don't let her get away, Mommy. Don't let her live. I won't, Jason. I won't.
Because once you see her, and this is me, I don't know. I'm not a particularly brave person, though. She is not intimidating.
No.
If I'm 12 and she's my grandmother, that's intimidating. She'd be scary when she yells at me.
Yeah.
But her trying to fight, especially when she gets her knife knocked out of her hand or the pitchfork, whatever, 90% of the kids, boys and girls, just go, ah! And then they do some weird freeze frame on them.
Yeah.
She's an old dude. Trip her and pop her hip out. You know she's got osteoporosis, dog. They didn't know about that stuff back in 1980.
She's got osteoporosis like a mug.
Yeah, dude, she trips. You're walking out of there.
It's over. It's curtains for her.
But they all act so terrified. And I get it. An old lady being crazy and coming after you. And, I'm going to kill you. Kill her, Mommy. And, hearing Jason's voice in her head. That's intimidating.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Betsy Palmer, overall, if she didn't shadow kill everyone like she did, sneak kill all these kids, she's not killing anyone but Annie.
Well, she had to sneak kill because there was no other way for her to kill anybody.
Exactly. Because they would all just beat her ass.
It was either a sneak kill or they knew her and it was like, oh, what are you doing here? Oh!
I just wish there would have been something more to her. Than just oh, my kid died and I'm just nutty now. No, bring something else out of that. There needs to be something more, especially with how good a job Betsy Palmer did. I mean, I'm making fun of her a lot in this, but she did a great job with the character.
No, she absolutely did.
Creepy as shit. It's just, again, as your big bad, Freddy, Leatherface, Michael Myers,
Mrs. Voorhees.
I mean,
no, it doesn't. I mean, I like how they, did it, where it was. This was the first found footage film.
A little bit, yeah.
It's all POV, and
they definitely took that from Halloween.
Yeah,
they seeing through the killer, so you don't get to see the killer.
Yeah, they don't reveal who the killer is. I love how they did that.
Yes.
Even though there are some shots from her point of view, that when they show the hands, I'm like, that's a dude. Those are man hands.
Maybe that was the intimidating part about Betsy Palmer, though. As Mrs. Voorhees, she had man hands and a dead tooth.
I mean, that would scare me personally.
It just didn't translate onto screen very well.
And then, I mean, the movie moves along very well. There's a lot of things, and again, this goes back to the writers and the director having an imagination, having to shoot in such a way where it leaves some things. I know this is like one of the original slasher films, so there is some blood and but it's not over the top. It didn't get over the top until later in the 80s.
Right.
And then into the 90s. But like they left a lot of stuff to imagination. I was actually the one thing that I took from this movie was, God, in 1980 through like, I don't know, 84, 85, I would have loved to have been a horror movie actor. Because it was one of the easiest jobs, because you didn't necessarily have to act well. And then your direction from the director is, okay, in this scene, you're going to walk up the stairs and into this cabin. You're going to go, hello, can I help you? And then you're going to walk through the door, and that's the scene. Next scene, your throat's slit, and there's blood everywhere. So after that scene, go hit makeup, and we'll shoot that next scene.
It would have been the time.
I would have loved to have been a horror movie actor back then. But again, for one of the originals, and if you haven't seen it, it's a good watch.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's campy. Do I think it stands the test of time? Not really. But as a horror movie fan, this is like a history class. If you're studying world history, you study World War I and World War II. This is the original. This is one of the OGs.
Yes, this serves as a great prologue for what is to become the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yes, absolutely.
Because as a standalone movie, it's great by itself. Mm-hmm. But then you kind of got to cut it off, because once Jason gets in, this thing shoots off into different worlds, and it's fantastic. The second Friday the 13th, to me, is the scariest one in the series, where he's wearing the potato sack as a...
Yes.
That shit's scary.
Yes.
But, so that was very good. The movie is good. You should watch it, like you said, from a historical standpoint. But don't compare it to the other Fridays. Don't compare it to Nightmare. The only one you can really compare it to is Halloween, just from the style of how it was shot and how closely tied. But the story, in my opinion, in Friday the 13th is more original.
Absolutely.
I loved the story. I thought it was a great story. It kind of gives you sympathy for the killer, which is something you don't often have in these movies. Which is why I will stand by the fact that this is a standalone movie. Friday the 13th Part 2 starts the Friday the 13th series.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, I would agree with that. This is for, if you're a fan of like Star Wars, this movie, if this franchise were to start now, the Friday the 13th would come out 15 to 20 years after Part 2. Like this is the prequel. Before prequels were a thing. So,
and all the Jason shit they are remaking now, that the original is the one they should have remade.
Absolutely.
Because they could have started a whole new story up with it.
Yep.
And just having Jason out there, everybody's seen it. Everybody understands what the hockey mask and machete are now. We get it.
Well, shit. I mean, you said it best.
I always
having Jason. He shot off into, like, literally and figuratively, into the stars. I mean, they had one in space. They had one in Manhattan. They had one. You know what I mean? So that series or in that franchise kind of took a left-hand turn.
Oh yeah, they went ham
And,
real fast.
yeah. Once they figured out they could just pump these out and people would go see them, it kind of, that's where I veered off and
Yes.
stopped watching. For
Well,
me
and
personally.
the only reason, which is funny, the only reason that the second one even got made was because of the audience reaction to little Jason coming up at the end of the original Friday the 13th and pulling Annie into the water.
Yeah.
Even though it was only a dream, technically his body's just at the, like, there is no supernatural force in this movie at all until that scene, and she even wakes up in the hospital. And everybody's very confused as to what she's talking about being found in the lake. She was found in the canoe where we see her wake up. So it's interesting how they were able to spawn it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
But damn, they went for quantity, not quality.
Yeah. After a few. I would say after 3.
Oh, way to be disagreeable.
After 3, I think is when it was like, because I'm not gonna lie, I saw 4 and 5.
Sure.
But after 3 is when it really kind of started going.
Yeah, that's when they started having like other guys in the Jason mask who were just Jason fans. Like, it's
yeah. No, I hear you.
Nobody got time for that.
But overall, does it stand the test of time? That's our thing. And I honestly think it does. There are, does it look dated? Does it look campy? This actually looks less dated than, like, again, hairstyle and clothing choices. Looks less dated almost than like Children of the Corn does.
Oh, totally.
And it was shot 4 years prior.
Yeah.
But I think it stands the test of time. I mean, it's not as scary as it was when I saw it when I was a kid. But I also have adult brain. So,
right.
But yeah, I still think it's enjoyable to watch. I mean, if you want to see where most of these horror movies came from, you watch Friday the 13th, you watch Halloween and some of the others.
That's what I was going to say. If nothing else, if you haven't seen the original, it is worth the watch for the simple point that this Nightmare, Chainsaw, etc. give birth to every modern horror standard or cliche, if you want to go negative with it, that exists today. It came from these group of movies. And again, if you haven't seen it, it's a good story. It's worth the watch. It's not going to scare you.
No.
At all. But it's a fun movie to watch.
Absolutely. So, anything else left on the movie? I think we hit it all.
Yeah, no, I got nothing, man.
All right. Well, you got nada. I got nada. Go get your PDR in Venezuela. If you don't have anything, I don't have anything. This has been Kiss the Reviews. This was Friday the 13th. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that stuff. Comment below. And let us know of any other movies that you want us to cover. But nothing. We'll see you guys later.